Oh my goodness, you guys are moving to Mexico. What are you going to do about water? Yeah, crazy because people live here and somehow they get water, right? Believe it or not, one of the top questions we get asked by our friends and family is, how do you guys do water? Because everyone knows that you don't drink the water in Mexico. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about how we do water and where we get water from and how the water works, and hopefully that answers some of your questions. So, the first question is the water safe to drink? The answer is no. I have met one person since living here who openly admits to drinking the water. Everyone else, expat and local, we all drink bottled water. And the reason isn't necessarily that they don't purify the water here, because from what I've read and learned online, the water is purified to international standards here. The issue is the old archaic plumbing that has some leaks and some open spots that let contamination and bacteria into the water. So that's the reason why people here, again, the locals, don't drink the water, is that the plumbing is so old and not reliable that even though the water is treated, it still could get contaminated, in camino on the way to your house. So the answer is the water's probably not safe to drink. If you drink some, are you going to die? Probably not. I've drank a little bit here and there for things, and I've never gotten sick. So the answer is no. Do the Mexicans drink the water? No. Do the expats drink the water? No. So what that means is if you're going out to eat at a restaurant or at a resort and someone gives you a drink, you might think, "Oh, can I drink that? It's juice or it has ice in it. How do I know that that wasn't that they made that with purified water?" The answer is they don't drink it either, so it's definitely going to be purified. And with the question regarding ice, I get that one all the time as well. What about buying purified ice? All these little street vendors, like the coffee shops and people, they don't make ice. It's not like in America where the people in the back have an ice machine and they're cranking it out. They don't do that. People here go and they buy purified bags of ice. They don't have big, expensive, electricity consuming ice makers in the back because electricity is the most expensive utility here. So they're not going to run an ice machine in the back to crank out that ice because they can go buy a bag of ice for like 50 cents. I actually watched our neighborhood coffee shop make an iced coffee, and she opened up a bag and took it out. So I know they're not making ice. So if there's an ice in your drink, it is safe to drink. The person is not making that ice. It came from a purified water, ice factory or wherever they make ice. So, well, getting back to the original question, how do we do it? We buy purified water in the garrafones, which are those big blue or orange water jugs that in America you would historically see like on top of the office water dispenser. There is a truck who comes into our neighborhood every Saturday morning, and I have an alarm set so I don't miss him. And they will come and pick up the water and sort of exchange it for us. I leave the water jugs out in front of my house with 55 pesos each underneath them, which is about $2.50. And at some point during the day, usually before noon, the water truck comes into our neighborhood and drives through the neighborhood and looks for empty jugs on your doorstep. In our case, we've been doing it long enough. The people, I think, know to come to our house. But if we were new here, we would just make sure we put the jugs maybe out kind of by the sidewalk so that they would see them. But in general, they get paid to do that. So they kind of look for them and want to make sure they get everybody in the neighborhood. If we didn't have the truck that came through our neighborhood, and in our case, I didn't know about this for the first little bit that we lived here, every single OXXO, 7-Eleven, neighborhood, mom and pop convenience store also has water for sale. They have these kind of big locked cages, usually out in front or next to the entrance, where you can go and exchange your used bottle for a new full bottle. If you are buying water for the first time, you do have to pay a little bit more to buy the jug because you're not just exchanging it, right? I think it was like 100 pesos, maybe it's like $5 first time. And from then on out, it's 55 pesos. So it's like $2.50. We go through about two of these jugs every week for drinking water, which makes it about 10 US dollars per week. Sorry, 10 US dollars per month for our drinking water. If you put the jugs out and you don't have the right change, they will give you change. So I've put out, a little bit more money than needed for my bottles, and they've always just put the bottles back and then put the change underneath it. It's kind of this really nice passive system. So now that we have the jug in our house, how do we actually get the water? When we first moved in here, we had a big hand pump That worked pretty good, but it did leak a little bit and it was kind of tall. And so we ended up buying a little electric pump off Amazon for $8 that you push the button and it pumps exactly 1 liter of water. So what we have is we have 4 or 5 of these 1 liter water bottles that we keep in our fridge, and then every time we drink one and use it, we refill it with the warm water from our garrafone, and then we put it back in the fridge. And that way we always have a bunch of cold water on hand because obviously the garrafone is sitting on your countertop, and during the summer it's like 80 degrees in our house because we don't cool the entire house. We just cool the rooms we're in. So we keep a nice stack of water bottles in the bottom of our fridge. That way we always just have some cold water. And in our case, with my pump, I actually went to the hardware store and bought a little piece of tubing. It's, about, 20 inches of tubing that I put on the spout of mine so I can just put that in the water bottle, start the pump, and then walk away. And it fills it up to exactly 1 liter. It stops, and then I can just put it in the fridge. So that's how we get cold drinking water year round inside of our house. So what about showering and brushing our teeth and, the house water? The water that comes into our house, um, I have drank it, but I would not drink it unless we were on hard times. But we brush our teeth, we shower with it, and we've had no problems. Um, I know it is like hard water. There's a lot of mineral content in it, and I know that women typically like to have soft water for their hair. So a lot of people around here have soft water filters or whatever those are in their houses to give them soft water, mostly for the hair when you're showering. If we lived here, we would probably spend the money to invest in a household filtration system and in a household soft water system. Where we are just renting, we're not going to invest in that, but I do know people here who have them. I believe the company charges the water filtration company charges 300 pesos, so about $15 a month for uh to swap out the filter. I think it's reverse osmosis, but they come service them every month or something. So it ends up being about $15 a month if you want to put the filter on your whole house. People who live here do that, but where we're just renting, we haven't done that. Some people also say with that reverse osmosis water that it doesn't taste quite as good as the bottled water, but I haven't personally tried that. But like I said, if we lived here long term, we would definitely do that. So I hope that helps understand how we do water here in Mexico. Basically, we have a truck every Saturday morning that drops off fresh, purified water on our doorstep, and then we just swap it out in our house every Saturday morning, and we use a little electric pump to give us 1 liter bottles of cold water in our fridge all year round. Hope this video was helpful to answer this basic question that we get asked all the time. If you find my content helpful, please consider liking and subscribing. See you in the next one.